Hi guys, hope you're doing well. My name is Emma and today I'm going to take you through making this sweater, which is the Bronze Summer Sweater. It's a free pattern by Drops Design. Alright guys, so this was a bit of a random pick for me. I was looking at purchasing some Drops yarn, and so I was looking on Ravelry and I was looking at like the colour families to try pick some colours or just see what the colours look like more in real life on people's projects to get an idea of like which colour I wanted to buy basically. Anyways, I came across someone's project photo who had made this particular sweater and I was like, oh, that's a cute sweater. So I clicked on it and lo and behold, it's a Drops pattern. So being a free pattern is bonus. And I really like the look of the pattern. I was keen to try the yarn out because it's made in Drops Air, and so look, I added the yarn to my cart and then here we are, we've made the piece. So I also, the other reason why I wanted to make this particular piece is because I wanted to challenge myself to make a really quick knit. I feel like I've got a lot of projects like on the needles and everything's taking me a really long time. I'm just not that motivated. I had a certain point of a piece, like sleeves or something, and I don't feel like working on it anymore. It's a bit of a struggle. And I've been watching a lot of people's videos where they're like, I knit a sweater in a week, and I thought I might challenge myself. There's no way I'm going to be able to make a sweater in a week because I'm just like, I'm too slow of a knitter to be able to actually do that. I would be literally working day and night in order to get that done. But I was like, 2 weeks could be possible. And based on my new like yarn stash that I now have, the Bronze Summer Sweater was the pattern that had like the largest like yarn weight and needle size. Therefore, theoretically, it should be the quickest knit to knit up of all of the kind of yarn that I have for different patterns and whatnot. If that makes sense. So Bronze Summer Sweater it was. I was like, can I do this in 2 weeks? I'm going to set myself a little mini challenge and see if I can actually do it. And we have to wait till the end. I'll give you my summary on time, but like I'm pretty proud of myself for this one. So yeah, that's why I started working on this particular piece. I'm also really excited for this one because this is one of the first times that I'm actually using the recommended yarn for a pattern. And not only that, I'm also using the same colorway as the sample photo. So, you know, I'm just literally, I've been like, I've seen this and I want to make this exact piece and I know it's going to turn out exactly like the photo. Well, theoretically it should, but you know, I find that when I buy, like when you buy yarn online, the color's never quite what you expect it to be. But anyways, this is not too bad. So first impressions on the pattern is that this is actually a very easy Drops pattern to follow. Typically, they like to cram in 99 instructions into one sentence, but because this is such a simple knit, there's not a lot of steps. So they haven't been able to cram too many steps into one sentence. Therefore, it's a very easy to read and understand pattern. So no need to rewrite anything from this one. I was able just to like look at the pattern and understand it straight away and be like, yeah, that makes sense. The pattern calls for Drops Air, which is an Aran or worsted weight yarn. It is 65% alpaca, 28% polyamide, 7% wool, and is knit on 5mm needles. It also comes in sizes from small to 3XL. I am going to be making a size large, which should give me about 10 centimeters of positive ease. I was really tossing up between large and extra large, like based on the schematic, is that how you say it? The measurements, like I feel like I could definitely get away with an extra large, but when I looked at some people's like project photos who have made extra large, it looked quite oversized. So I'm leaning towards the side of caution and I'm just going to make a size large in mine. In terms of construction, this is a very basic raglan. There's not really much to it. It is basically all over stock net with a lace detail that runs in the side. So it is knit top down, all in the round. There's no shaping aside from some gradual decreases down the sleeves to give you like a tapered sleeve. You start by casting on for the neck and you just do a 1x1 rib for the collar. You then establish your yoke section. So you start working the pattern, the lace pattern on the shoulder, as well as establishing your raglan decreases. you just basically work the piece down until you reach the right yoke depth under the arm. You then split for body and sleeves. You continue to work the body down and around and just stockinette till you get to the desired length that you would like. You finish off with some 1x1 ribbing, and then sleeves you just pick up and continue to work down and around, continuing the lace pattern. Like I said, doing some gradual decreases, finish the cuff with some 1x1 ribbing, and that is the piece done. It is super basic. So in terms of mods that I'm going to make to my piece, I will start with a tubular cast on just to keep that neckline nice and neat. I was thinking about doing a folded collar, but then I feel like it might look a little bit too thick. I don't want necessarily a super thick looking jumper with this one. So I think I might just stick to the kind of flat single layer collar. Is that what you call it? Don't know. Other than that, I'll be doing like Italian bind offs on all of my finishing pieces. And I am going to attempt to add in some short rows. There's no shaping in this pattern, but because it's like such a basic raglan, I don't know, I think I can work in some shaping to maybe like bring that front neck down just a smidge. So for my piece, I think I might have already mentioned this, but I am using the exact same yarn that the pattern calls for. So I'm using the Drops Air yarn in the same color as pictured, which was in 02 Wheat. So that yarn I managed to pick up for, I bought it from a Danish website. They charge in US dollars. So it cost me $3.55 USD for that yarn per ball. If I convert that to Australian dollars plus factor in the shipping costs to get it here, each ball cost me $7.13. I'm also going to be using the same like needles as recommended by the pattern, which is 5mm needles. In terms of skill level, there's nothing specified. I mean, why would Drops give us any more information than they absolutely have to? But this one's definitely, I'd categorize this as being beginner friendly. You just need to have some knowledge around raglan construction and also a bit of understanding on lace work, because there is a chart to read for the lace. But it is very, very basic. So if you just practice on a gauge swatch, you'll get the hang of it, no problemo. The main, like the hardest thing about this particular piece is really just reading the pattern. And as I said before, this is one of the easier to understand Drops patterns. Now this video is by no means a detailed tutorial on making the bronze summer sweater. It's just me taking you along on my journey in making this particular piece. I will have the pattern down below if you want to also make it, and I'll have any like video tutorials or anything that I've used throughout also linked down below in case you want to use the same techniques or anything like that. But if you do like these kind of like knit along journey, what are these called? I still don't know what to call these videos, but if you enjoy these type of videos, feel free to do those YouTubey things and follow along, because I have a lot of projects coming up, so there'll be plenty of project vlogs for you to watch. Otherwise, let's get into it. Alright, so here's the first try on that we've got. Now you can see I am currently still on my needles. I've just got the wire. I added like 2 wires together just so I could try this on, and I've just pinned my sleeves together. So I haven't actually separated yet, so we're still on our yoke section at the moment, but I just wanted to pop it on and give it a quick check in terms of measurements, because we are still not quite at the right yoke depth yet. So we're about 22 centimeters. Pattern calls for 24 centimeters on the yoke. Now, when I started knitting, I measured my work and I knew I wasn't going to hit the right length right from the get-go. So the pattern just says to do 27 raglan increases and then continue to knit until you reach 24 centimeters. But from my zipper sweater light project that I've been working on, I did that where I stopped my raglans and then I knit a little bit extra flat to get the right kind of depth that I wanted on the yoke. And it's quite obvious that the raglan line just kind of stops. It does somewhat tuck like under the arm, but it doesn't tuck under enough. Like there's that kind of harsh stop of the raglan increases that you can kind of see, and I don't particularly like it. Like I'm gifting that one so I can overlook it. I'm not going to like rip back and fix it. But in this one, I wanted to avoid that sudden stop in the raglan. So I've knitted down 20 raglan increases, and then I measured my work to kind of guesstimate how many more centimeters I would get and where I'd be reaching. And I was going to be short by like 5-6 centimeters in total. So what I did for the last 7 of my raglan increases is I started spacing them out a little bit more. So instead of knitting 1 round in between each increase round, I'm doing 2 rounds in between each increase round, just to get a little bit more length in the yoke while still kind of like continuing the raglan line down. I don't know if you can really see it in this light, but the increase line still continues down. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, we need to do a couple more rows, and since this is looking quite fitted, and for the size that I'm making, I think I'm only going to have around about 10 centimeters of positive ease, which like it's hard to tell because this is like on the wire, but like I think we'll be around about there. But we could get a little bit more positive ease in the body. I won't be mad with that. So I might do another couple, maybe just like 2 more increase rounds, but increase on the body only and leave the sleeves as is, because we've hit the right stitch count on the sleeves, and I think I'll just leave them at that before we separate body and sleeves. So we're going to have some weird stitch counts at the end. The size is not going to be true to pattern, but I think that's going to be the right decision to make. The second thing that I'm going to alter on this pattern is add some shaping in. So there is no shaping in this pattern, and to be honest, I don't know the best way to add shaping in, because you've got a sleeve detail here, so you can't add like short rows to the back of the neck because they need to run into this shoulder section, and that would muck up that lace pattern. So you can't add short rows. So there is the option to kind of add some short rows in the mid-back. Now, I tried to look up some videos on how to best go about this and how to kind of add them or calculate where you start and stop your kind of short rows for the mid-back, and I haven't been able to find any tutorials or enough information about how to add it to a pattern. There's been some people explaining like, this is what short rows are, and you can place them here, here, and here. But they haven't given any like other detailed instructions or anything like that. So I don't have any confidence in trying to add German short rows in myself without mucking up my piece. So what I might do is I do have a raglan pattern that instead of adding like German short rows, you basically just knit a section flat. So between the raglan lines on the back, you just knit across flat for like 1 inch, and that's inserting some extra fabric that then should lift the back of the piece. And then the only difference you have to like do with that is when you pick up for your sleeve stitches, you'll have like an extra little straight bit here, so you just need to pick up some additional stitches on that straight bit, and then I don't know, decrease the stitch count back down so that your sleeves marry up to the pattern. Something along those lines. So I think that's what I might do, because currently how this is sitting, you can see the neckline here is sitting quite literally like flat up against my neck. So adding in that extra kind of bit of fabric should hopefully bring this down a little bit, and it will just sit a little bit nicer on the neckline. So that's what I'm hoping to achieve by adding in that flat section. So a few more increases. We'll do the flat section to increase the fabric on the back before we then separate for body and sleeves, and then you just continue the body and the sleeves as per pattern in the round. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully this works out. Alright, so this is what I meant by like knitting flat for a section. So you can see that I've just been going like back and forth here to create a little bit of extra fabric. Now I don't know how much extra fabric. We're just over an inch if I stretch it a little bit. I'm wondering if I do another set, so we're kind of closer to 1.5 inches. But I don't know what like the maximum amount you can get away with is. But this is about 6 rows. And when I think about when you do short rows, how many do you normally do? You do like 8 or 9, don't you? So maybe I will do another round. I think I'll do another set, but that's what I'm trying to achieve. So I think we'll do one more, and then we'll then just move on to separating body and sleeves. I think that will do. We're basically at, like, if I stretched a little bit, we're 1.5 inches. So with blocking, if we stretch it out, I think that's more than enough length to kind of add to get the front to sit a little bit lower than the back. So now we're going to separate body and sleeves. So I'm just going to treat this as if it didn't, like this gap didn't really exist. And we'll put these stitches on stitch holders. We'll cast on our underarm stitches and basically just keep continuing. So when it comes to picking up our sleeve stitches, kind of see there, I will have to pick up a few additional stitches along this edge, and then I'm just going to have to do some decreases to adjust my stitch count and bring it back to the correct stitch count for my size. As for how many stitches, I might just pick up 1 stitch for every other row. So we did, I think I did 6 back and forth. I have to count my rows and double check that to get that extra length, but I also went by measurement versus stitch count. So hopefully that works to raise the back, because there you see, like there's the back. We kind of just like stick that in. That should raise. There we are. I align these two. We're now raised. You see that? That's what I was hoping to achieve. So it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Could it be lower? I don't think so. I think it's going to distort if we do any more. So let's separate. Okay, real quick, because it's like 30 something degrees today and I am sweltering in this top. So I've got to the point where I'm ready to change to a new ball of yarn, but I just wanted to show you what the kind of effect from the shaping that I did was. I don't think it really did anything, to be honest. But you can see I've got like a little bit of extra length just on this back bit here. And it's meant to raise the back and lower the front, but you can see this front is still sitting like quite high. So I don't know if it was really that effective. I feel like it's maybe a little bit lower than it was before. I'm hoping like once the sleeves are on, that it like kind of weighs it down a little bit. And this neckline just will stretch out, hopefully when I block it as well. And because it will be a little bit wider, it should just sit lower down anyways, and therefore shouldn't like be butted up right against my throat there. So yeah, anyways, this is the checkpoint. This is 3 balls of yarn, by the way. I think I might do a start on the sleeve next and then pick up the rest of the body later. But I'm considering whether or not I should do a split hem on this piece or leave it as per pattern and just do ribbing all the way around, because I think it could look kind of cute if it was like straight and then you could like tuck the front into your pants. You know what I mean? By the way, I'm still wearing my pajamas. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so you know, it's too hot today to leave the house, so pajamas all day. But yeah, here we are.
We'll find them.
Quick try on update. Ignore my looks. I'm literally in my pajamas still. I just got out of bed. But I wanted to do a quick update before I pick this up and start working on it again. So what I've done is I've pretty much finished the sleeve. So I've used 1 entire ball on the sleeve. And then I've wet blocked my piece to get an idea on how much it will grow. So the sleeve probably grew maybe 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches maximum. I didn't actually measure it before and after. I was just kind of guesstimating from where I tried it on before to when I tried it on afterwards. I was like, yeah, I don't know, it's a few centimeters longer. But I'm at the point where I'm not sure if I want to have my sleeve being slightly too long or if I want it just to fit, like finish perfectly. Because when I like reach up, the sleeve will like shrink up. I've got 4 centimeters of ribbing to do. So I don't know if I want to just move on to the ribbing now or if I want to do one more lace repeat and then do ribbing so that my sleeve is like a little bit like too long. So yeah. I don't know. I've just put it on stitch rollers for the time being since I need to pick up new yarn to do whichever next step I'm going to do. So I think what I'll do is finish the other sleeve so that my piece like will sit properly, and then I will make a decision on how I want to finish the sleeve length, and then we also need to move on to finish the body. I think I will do a split hem on the body. The more I think about it, the more I think it will look quite good. So that's the plans. I also just want to say, after like blocking it, I feel like this neckline is sitting a little bit better than it was before. As I move around, it does still like ride up a little bit, but you can see it's not sitting like before. It was kind of like sitting on the neck, whereas now, like, let me just move around a little bit. You can see it's definitely sitting like a little bit lower than what the back is sitting, and it's sitting kind of like just on the kind of edge of, what is this called, the nape of my neck? I don't even know. So yeah, the neckline has widened just a smidge and it's sitting quite nice and low. So I think once I have this other sleeve on, it'll even out the weight on the neckline. But so far I'm actually happy that that shaping kind of element that I've added I think it might have actually worked. So that's good. But yeah, I'm unsure on sleeving. So yeah, let's pick up another sleeve and then we'll reassess at that point.
They take you on a journey of self-discovery. You find out who you really are, this and that.
Alrighty, so I'm up to splitting my hem and I want to do like this overlap thing. So I have the tutorial down below, but basically what I've done it on this side and then I've got to do the other side. You divide your body in half where you want your split to be, and then you do increases. So you knit across however many stitches you want, doing an increase in between. You then transfer the stitches onto 2 needles, and one set goes onto the back stitches and one set is worked with the front stitches. So this will be worked in ribbing. So I'm following the instructions that the lady's done, and she's done 6 stitches. I'm also doing 6 stitches of ribbing, and this should create like a little overlap flap like this. So yeah, you knit across here, and now I'm up to the side. It's a bit fiddly, I'm not gonna lie, because you've got all these needles poking out everywhere. And we want a double pointed needle. You've got to use double pointed needles in your ribbing size as well, which I'm not sure if this is going to be a mistake or not, because I've had to size down, what am I using here? Oh, 5mm, I'm 4mm for my ribbing. Should be fine actually, I thought I was on 6mm for some reason. So for this side, you have to start by making one right. We want to pick up from the back and knit into the front. Okay, so now we transfer. So which ones do we transfer where? Okay, so to then redistribute, we need 2 needles, one on to the back, and then this one go to the front, and you alternate, go to the back. Okay, and then the front ones join my back piece stitches. And then after this, I believe we just continue knitting flat. So you work these on deep ends and then you work all your normal stitches. So for mine, I'm going to kind of copy what this lady's got in her video, where I'm going to continue stockinette for maybe like 4 more centimeters, and then I'll move on to the ribbing for the front piece, and then the back piece I'm going to make a little bit longer before I move on to the ribbing. So I'm just going to have to try this on and see how it fits as I go, because I'm totally winging this at this point. So hopefully this works out and I don't need to rip back, but if I do, it's only half the stitches that I need to rip back, so I guess there's a bonus to that.
mano. They take you on a journey of self-discovery. You find out who you really are, listen
Right, and here is my finished bronze summer sweater. I'm really liking how she came out actually, minus this crease. I had it folded sitting on the couch and it's annoying, no crease like stuck in there. But anyways, just a reminder of what I've done on my piece. You can see I did my tubular cast on the collar here. I forgot what that was called for a second. I also finished off all of my like cuffs and hems and whatnot with Italian bind off. I did extend out my raglans. So once I hit around about here-ish, I started spacing out my raglans so that they are spaced out there's 2 knit rows in between every increase round. So that just gave me a little bit more depth on my yoke whilst still continuing kind of with that raglan line. You can see it does fade out a little bit, but it's still like there. I also ended up adding 2 additional raglans to my piece, but I increased on the body section only. I did attempt to add in some shaping on the back as well. So you can kind of see here where I did that like little flap with the extra like flat bit that I knitted in. But because of the like short rows that I added in here and because I added some additional raglans, my sizing is a little bit off. So I did initially knit this to a size large, but the body section with the extra raglans is somewhere in between like a large and extra large. The sleeves with the extra picked up stitches for that like back section, just to cover that gap, makes my sleeves 1 size up. So these are extra large in terms of the sleeve width. Is that the right word for it? So there's that. And then I also did the split hem that you can see there as well, kind of high-low, with a little bit of ribbing on the edge of that split hem there too. And in terms of time to make this definitely was the quickest knit that I have ever done. I ended up knitting up this piece in about 2 weeks. I think it was like 16 days all up, so we were just over 2 weeks to knit up an entire sweater. It wasn't because I knit any faster than I normally would, it's just because I dedicated all of my time to knitting this piece. One day I worked on this for like 10.5 hours. And I was starting to get really sore wrists or like forearms from knitting too much. But we did push through and we got her done. In terms of hours, it took me 83 hours. So we're kind of on par with like some other projects that I've worked in terms of actual hours. But this is the power of concentrating on just one piece and dedicating all of your time, like day and night, to working on a piece. You can get it done quickly. But still, I'm pretty proud of myself for actually completing a project within like 2 weeks, because I kind of set myself that challenge that I wanted to get it done in 2 weeks, and we kind of achieved it. In terms of yarn usage, I ended up using 6.5 balls of yarn. I did buy 8 balls because that's what the pattern called for, so I'm a little bit annoyed that I've got so much left over. But that then gives us a total cost of $46.35. Now, overall thoughts on this piece. I'm actually very happy with how this has come out, but I may end up making a few tweaks to it. In terms of like the pattern and the design and stuff like that, it is a very, very basic raglan construction. Like there is nothing complicated to it because there's no like shaping or anything like that in the original pattern. It's very, very simple to knit up. I would say this lace detail is what makes this piece look a little bit more handmade. Otherwise, I would call this a very commercial looking knit. But this lace pattern kind of makes it stand out as being handmade, because you wouldn't see that on anything commercial. It also looks more complex than it actually is. This is a very, very simple lace pattern. It's literally you just working every few rows a bunch of decreases all in one, and then some yarn overs. Like, there's nothing too complicated about that. The hem, I'm a little 50-50 on the hem that I ended up doing on this. It kind of separates a little bit more than I was maybe anticipating it to, and I don't think it kind of like hangs right. So if I was to do this again, I think I would either not size down in the needles for the hem, so we're just like the same, or do a row of increases just before you start the ribbing, just to increase the stitch count and therefore the gauge, and so that the ribbing doesn't cinch in at all, is what I'm trying to get at with both of those changes. Because we had sized down, it does cinch that ribbing in just a little bit, and I kind of prefer that the ribbing didn't do that and was just the same, like, flat bagginess as the body of the sweater, if that makes sense. So that, I mean, I might end up changing that, I don't know yet. But aside from any adjustments to the hem, the only other change I'd make to this is definitely making the size larger. I should have just stuck to my guns and trusted the schematic and the measurements and made the size up. And I had enough yarn to do that as well. So I'm a little bit mad that I've got so much yarn left over, because it looks fine on, but it definitely would look better if it was a little bit looser. So to be honest, this may be a contender for some sweater surgery. I have a feeling like I don't know how this yarn's going to take to ripping back because of all the little fluffs and fibers that come out of it. I did end up ripping back a little bit of my Italian bind off, and that just stuck to itself really badly, but that was the Italian bind off, and I find that because you're weaving it in and out so many times, it does like mat up on itself more so than like stitches would. So I'm a little bit nervous to rip this back because of the yarn choice. But yeah, it might be something that I end up ripping back to the yoke, adding a little bit more width to it, so I've got a larger size. But it would mean that I might need to maybe cut my sleeve off and then maybe reattach the sleeve so that I don't have to like work it again. I might have to end up ripping back on the bind off and shortening it a little bit if I do that though. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know if just to be happy with how it is, being that it's not 100% perfect, or if I should rip back and try perfect it. I'm a little bit in two minds on this one, because it's not bad. It's not to the point where I wouldn't wear it, because this is such a like basic neutral knit that I know I would wear it, but I could perfect it and make it better. So I don't know for this one if I want to toy with it or not. But anyways, thoughts on the pattern. Usually I'm a real hater of drops patterns, but this one was fine. Like I said, I think in the beginning, there's like so few steps in this sweater that like they literally can't overwhelm you with too much information in one sentence. So it's very easy just to look at the pattern and follow it, because there's no shaping or anything like that. It's just a very simple raglan. I would say this is very beginner friendly. I would recommend this pattern if you want to try it, as long as you're happy with a very basic raglan. There's definitely more sophisticated patterns out there that include some shaping and whatnot. That may be a better choice if you know, like a well-fitted piece. If you don't care so much, this is great. Do it. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on the bronze summer sweater. There's really not much to it. It's a great classic basic. Do let me know below though if you think I should rip back and adjust the sizing, or if I should just leave it as is. If you have ripped back some drops air yarn before, please let me know down below how that went, because that's the deal breaker really on whether or not I should adjust it. It's just how well this yarn is going to rip back, so let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching me make this one. I've got plenty other project vlogs on the way, so if you like these kind of videos, do those YouTube things so you get notified when I release another one. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys. Is this making any sense? I don't know, let me start this again. I have so much fluff all over my pants from holding this jumper. Whoopsies. Sweat hurts. Oh, what am I saying? Look at my top. This thing sheds like crazy. Am I enough in frame? Oh my god, I have fluff in my eye. I can feel it. Fluff's everywhere. It's warm. It dried super quickly. It was 35 degrees yesterday, so that did help. I hate it when you click on something and it like doesn't open. Oh my god, this trucks.